Hey everybody, Radamon here. Thanks for tuning in to episode 60 of Oxygen Not Included. A little reminder to you all that this is the last episode that I had to pre-record, so all of your user feedback will be incorporated next episode. This is the last pre-recorded one. Unfortunately, I did not get nearly as much stuff as I wanted done, and this is a direct result of the fact that I messed up my space dock. The space dock, of course, was too close to the space scanners, causing a scan quality loss, which would have meant that I would either need more scanners to accurately and effectively shut my bunker doors before the world came crashing down on my head. And yeah, I wasn't going to get that, so we are stuck in a situation where I'm going to have to, or I'm in the process, rather, of completely redesigning the space dock altogether. Oh boy, lucky me, right? What else? So we are also trying to cool down this hydrogen up here, waiting for it to overpressurize. We are very, very low on hydrogen in our base. Oh wow, it is way beyond overpressurized. It is 6.7k. Yikes. Alright, so I'm trying to cool down this hyper-pressurized hydrogen so that the gas pump is not constantly damaged. So we're going to wait until this brings down significantly in temperature. And we have some other projects as well. One was that the front door is building up heat that I can wheezewort. That should be pretty easy. I'm just going to take this wheezewort. It's fine. And we are working on the aqua tuner. So part of the aqua tuner is to get a significant amount of petroleum so that we can use the petroleum as a refrigerant. The petroleum as refrigerant is probably the liquid I have access to that has the lowest freeze temperature. As you can see, salt water and brine isn't gonna, anything water-based is not gonna get me low enough temperature. And then crude oil only gets me to negative 40. Petroleum brings me down to negative 70. Everything else is just a liquid I don't have access to yet, so we can ignore it. I don't really want the constant drowned alert here, so I'm gonna deconstruct those. I think this is a result of me mining out. Oh no, you know what? I didn't even do this. It was lead that collapsed from a pool of oil here and caused it to flood. Wasn't even my fault. So I'm not going to take the blame. I'm going to continue to queue up some steel. Now that we are done with the glass forge, we have forged the last piece of glass that we need for the last solar panel out here. And this gives us 8. It gives us, what would that be? 380 times 8. That's a pretty good amount. That's 3,040. Yeah, again, that's a pretty good amount of solar power. We are still trying to tidy up all of this mafic and regolith, pulling it out of the inside and putting it outside for the purposes of allowing the temperature to drop, because the atmosuit checkpoint here started to become overheated. It is now a more reasonable temperature, but I want it to lower even more. We are going to have a coolant line here, which will very quickly, and this is the start of the coolant line, so I think it will very, very quickly drop all of the temperature of drop the temperature of my checkpoint, but I do need to finish the coolant before that is the case. So if that's the case, let's go ahead and continue to build this coolant line here. Let's prioritize construction at 7. And then the hydrogen line, because we are going to want to add hydrogen to our aqua tuner area. There's 2 ways to transfer heat, there's multiple ways to transfer heat, but the 2 ways I'm using to transfer heat here is the temp shift plates. So this temp shift plate is, let's say, 45C, and the one down here is 60C. So as you can see, it's not perfectly transferring temperature. There is a bit of a gradient here. But if I filled the area with high pressure hydrogen, it would transfer heat even better. And this is so that the heat from the aqua tuner can be sort of evenly transferred around and negated. Now, I do have to fix this issue up here. And it seems like these Weezeworts are doing a pretty good job. We're almost at acceptable Weezewort temperatures. We're just, we're getting close. And I want the Weezeworts to finish up because as long as they are not, as long as those Weezeworts do have body heat issues, I am going to perpetually have problems, you know, with the pump overheating and getting damaged and all that, and I don't want that to be a constant problem, a constant thorn in my side. So we are still tidying up all this regolith and Mafic, and once we're done with the tidying up, I will re-enable the checkpoint suits, the jet suits, and we will finish up some of the construction here. I'm going to manually mine all this Mafic and well, it's all regolith, but manually mine all this regolith up here so that my auto miners don't have a ridiculous amount of work to do. And then eventually, you know, I'll be setting it up so that it's automatic in the future. And in fact, to that end, I'm going to continue the mechanized airlocks. I do have to set up the automation for these mechanized airlocks so that they open up automatically when the regolith is mined out, and I have to figure out exactly what that looks like as far as automation is concerned, because I actually don't know exactly how I'm going to do that, but I'll figure it out. I usually do. All right, checking for hotspots in the base. Other than the hotspot that I'm mitigating right now at the front door, we are sort of... Why is this a hotspot? I don't even know. Let me tidy up this stuff. I don't think it's that material, but I'm not entirely sure why we have a hotspot here. And then we have this weird band of hotspot that I noticed before. It's fine. I mean, not going to get me killed. But we are working on this big, nasty hotspot that we had as a result of all the regolith and Mafic being inside the base that I am trying to remedy as best as I am able. Now, the positive effect of cleaning up all this regolith and setting it up the way I did is that we are going to have the ability to have a significant plastic roof here that leads to a rocket and rocketry, and that's pretty cool. I am very excited about that. So I'm going to dig a little tunnel here. I'm actually going to start digging out all this regolith so we can tidy it up, I guess. So I'm going to probably dig something like this. And this is going to be a ridiculously large cleanup project as well. I acknowledge that. But one of the benefits of this, of course, is once it is done, we can reclaim this whole area. So, in fact, what I want to do is not put in this plastic roof until all of this Mafic and regolith is gone. Because it's going to be a problem until I tidy it all up. And we are going to continue to store it in bins. And I think what I'm going to do is have a plastic ladder here just to make it a little bit faster to store. So let's set this to 8. Here's my last solar power panel. I'm not going to go... You know, I could go past here. I would just need to add robo miners. Well, where... The real question is, where is my automation? Okay, so my automation stops here, so never mind. I'm not going to go past there. And then to protect myself from the hot mafic rock outside, I'm going to wall myself in. This hydrogen is definitely helping out, making the wheeze wards more effective, but I do eventually want all this debris gone. Oh, you were getting stuck. Oh, look at you climbing the regolith elevator there. Hey, you want to get down from there? You gotta dig. What are you doing? What are you doing? There you go. He was freaking out a little bit, and now he's figuring out the only way down is to dig. No, 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 no. Okay, don't worry about that side. No, okay, all right. Yeah, he's gonna be pissed. All right, Bryce is gonna have some issues. Now, one of the positive things is because I have the bunker doors closed, he's not gonna get sunburned at least. So there is a small, pretty insignificant win there. He's gonna be all sorts of pissed, but at least he won't be sunburned, right? So these. Actually, you know what? I don't believe that the mechanized airlocks even need to be plugged in, if I recall correctly. They just move slower if they're not. So I'm not even going to plug them in. I'm just going to put them on an AI. It looks like Bry's already got himself free. Did he make it to the bathroom in time? I think he did. Cool. Okay, so the iron and steel is still going, just making sure that it's not overheating. Nope, that is pretty hot oil, though. I might want to stop the fabrication of steel for a bit, just to let the oil in my reservoirs cool, because right now this oil is, I don't know, oil's not so bad. But I'm gonna still let it cool, just as a precaution. All right, who's idle? Bryce is... Oh, why? Where is... Oh, Jesus, dude. Oh, my God. Why do you keep making every bad decision that you possibly could? I thought he got free, but he obviously has not. Now, why are you keep digging? Oh, my God. What is your... What is his issue? He's a glutton for punishment. Go relax. Go chill out. You don't need to keep digging. Alright, he wants to dig. He's a monster. Cool. Well, I'll let him have it. Have at it. Alright, so all of my bins are now full, meaning that, yes, I am indeed going to be required to add more bins. Figured as much, so we'll get those set up. Alright, and this is about to spill a whole lot of material. Yeah, this is going to be another sizable cleanup, but this is where my rockets are going to go, so... A mite bit important, I think. Oh, and riding the elevator now. Yeah, as you can see with how Bryce sort of like floated up to the top, sometimes that will happen to you, and it's important for you to pay attention to your space miners, because if you don't, they can definitely find themselves into a situation where they are very, very, very much stranded. I think Angelia also got stranded like that once before. And when they're stranded like that, there's really no freeing them quickly. So it is important to keep an eye on them. So these mechanized airlocks are going to allow me to very, very efficiently drop the debris down so that it can be swept up. I do think that the sweepies are likely to get overwhelmed, where they are not going to be able to keep up with the demand of the regolith buildup. But that's not my problem, is it? Yep, that's really not my problem at all. So, once this is swept up here, I think what I'll do is turn my attention to all of the regolith and mafic that is... Let me cancel this for now. All the regolith and mafic that is going to get added here as a result of excavating this out. And then I might actually set up a ladder to mine up there, just because I think it's actually going to be faster for me to do it in regular suits rather than Atmos suits. Strangely enough. I know that sounds strange, but I'll do something like this. Because, yeah, it's honestly going to be faster. Why is this gas pump getting damaged? What? Now, let's blow it up. Speaking of that gas pump, let me check in on my... Yep, it is too hot. But we dropped the temperature down, I don't know, like 50 degrees. So I'm just going to have to keep digging these up and putting them back. I might actually want to shotgun the problem. Where I'll add a bunch more Weezeworts temporarily, just so that we can quickly cool this area, because I'm sort of tired of constantly having to fix this. I don't want to fix it, so I'm going to do that shotgun effect. I'm going to take out the Weezeworts from my from my hydrogen and natural gas, and just dump a whole bunch of Weezeworts here, because I am just really tired of this this overheat issue. So 6 Weezeworts will do it faster. And I'm going to set this to priority 9, because I'm tired of it. Alright, so Bryce is idle again, because he trapped himself again. Of course he did, buddy. He's doing a lot of work, so I really shouldn't critique him. Okay, barbecue. He's putting the hard work in. This petroleum is okay. It's very far from its evaporation point. That's not something I need to worry about necessarily. All right, so we're digging up the Weezeworts that are going to be transported, and we're almost done sweeping, which is pretty swell. What was the priority on this? 8s. Okay, yeah, we're almost done sweeping all this up. And then we just have all this regolith that has piled on our bunker doors to clean up. So, oil. Not too hot. Good. Let's continue the steel. Checking in on the ranches here. 6 and 7, so let's get back to... Oh, looks like we're already incubating. Let's get back to the Drecklet. Oh, I don't have any Drecklet eggs. Touché. Touché. Well, if it becomes a problem where their populations are dropping and I don't seem to be able to replenish them, I could always capture wild ones. I think what's happening is these Drecklets just so happen to be laying glossy eggs. They have a 92% chance for glossies and only an 8 for regulars. So... unless they lay a whole bunch of eggs, it is very probable that they'll self-extinct. And if that becomes the problem, the wild ones here mostly lay glossies, or regulars. So what I could do is keep them wild. I could always capture the regular ones, some regular ones, and oh, here's one perfect example where we just let this wild one lay regular eggs, and don't ranch it. So I'm actually not going to wrangle it. I'm just going to let it remain wild. Okay. My current duplicants are way too busy to take any more new tasks, so I'm going to leave them be. They are installing the mechanized airlocks as debris roofs. I don't think I need a debris roof on the sweepy dock. I can always add it if I do in the long run, but I don't think I do. I want the power wire connected alerts to go away, though. I wonder if I could just paint token wires like this to have the alert disappear. I am not sure about that, because I don't want to be constantly alerted by it. It's kind of annoying. Alright, temperature out here has gone down a lot. It was like 80 Celsius, it's now 67 Celsius. And that is a result of removing all this debris, which is fantastic. Taking a look at body temperature. Oh, we definitely need to allow for water filtration. Alright, and speaking of body temperature, let's plant these wheezeworts. These, of course, are temporary, but I want to get them in so that we can finally get this hydrogen down to a manageable temperature. I might even super freeze this stuff just because I've been annoyed by it. Looks like we're going to need some refined carbon. No problem. We make that automatically with our auto sweeper. And some additional regolith storage, because we ran out of space. And when we dig this out, we are going to need drywall as a replacement. Otherwise, we'll start venting. I'm surprised there's not an alert of like, you're venting space. But maybe that would be an annoying one. Is that hydrogen? Yeah, how did this hydrogen get in here? Come on, for real? A perfect 100-gram block of hydrogen? I'm not nitpicky enough. Is there more than that, though? Because, nope, there's just one little thing of hydrogen. I don't know how it got up there. I have no idea. But oh well. Maybe it will get sucked up by this gas pump randomly. I mean, that could happen. Okay, so we're getting the last of the mafic out. And abyssalite, and granite, and regolith. And then I have to sweep all this up, so I'm not quite done yet. This has been mostly me doing, like, I know, it's maintenance. But it's necessary maintenance to make space more accessible. Alright, so let's start pulling at 5,000. Somehow we got up to 12k. Why is this not getting overpressurized? I don't really understand why this seems to have no pressure ceiling. But because we are so dang low of hydrogen, right? I'm below 5k. I'm just going to start sending this stuff. I'm not going to worry about some arbitrary pressure max. I'm going to say 4,500. And hopefully all these additional Louise warts help to keep the body temperature down. What about my other geyser? Yeah, this one is cooking, but it's not too hot up top. You can kind of tell. I really don't know how I'm cutting down the temperature in this chamber and not the other one. I don't know the difference. I don't really get the difference. But also the I'm not close to the overheat temperature, but it's also important to note that this hydrogen chamber, where the steam turbines run, are also getting pretty hot. Not to a point where it's going to do damage, but you know, it's something to keep a watchful eye on, I guess. Alright. There's a pretty limited amount of Mafic, I think, to be hauled away. I love how, despite the scanners obviously having no path to sky, it's still like, incoming object! That somehow it, like, magically notices. Alright, so the notices that these aren't plugged in are gone. Obviously, there is no power to them. That's by design. I don't think I really need power for it to still work. So soon this sweep will be done, and then I can get back to, like, more important stuff. We're only 4 degrees Fahrenheit or 2 degrees Celsius over temperature for this buddy bud. So this buddy bud is getting pretty close to the temperature it wants to be. Oh, no. You don't you don't get to destroy my roof here and then walk away. Okay, as you can see, the hydrogen is venting out pretty quickly. I like how he just dug it and he's like, oh, I made a mistake, and just walked away from it. Oh, and then you're stuck. Because of course you are. Now what I'm going to be doing here is stripping away layers of the Mafic and Regolith until we get lower. Spicy tofu sounds good. And as you can see, I think that these bins, yeah, these bins are not likely to overheat the solar panels. That was a thought I just had, but I think we should be okay. Alright, let's cycle our water. Still pure water? Still clean water? Oh yeah. Germ-free for 700 days. Okay, what's our oil temperature at now? It's hot, but acceptably hot. I'm gonna give it a little pause here, making the steel, just to bring it down a little further. Okay, once we start to break these, okay, here we go. Breaking the ladders. Once we start to break these ladders, I'll start strip mining. Paddy Wagon's doing that. So this is just taking layers of material off so that we have more space for a rocket. Because rockets are a pretty vertical thing. If I go to rocketry here, you've got your gantry arm, like this, and then you have your command capsule. I'll just show you roughly the size. You got steam engines, research modules, so you can have a very vertical rocket. which is why I'm adding all this room. Actually, let's not go down that far. I need to be able to stand on something to access higher tiers. Because right now that's not going to be reachable. Man, Bryce is putting in the work. He is a workhorse. All right, so this is all the mining I want to do. And then once that is all mined out, I will, maybe one more layer, actually. Then I will add a insulated tile and a plastic tile so that we can move around more smoothly. Just for aesthetics, I'm going to add some more drywall in so we don't, like, half see space there because it's a little weird. And we'll start to build this ladder and have Bryce clear this regolith up here so that we can start to regain our solar. So it looks like, apart from this little chunk here, we are all swept up. And that means the temperature here should dramatically go down over time with aid of the Weezeworts, because there's really nothing keeping this area hot. Then I'm going to want to sweep that up, because that is going to cause heat. And then once that's swept up, we're good to put in the flooring and whatnot. Nice. Okay, how's my hydrogen? Okay, we're back up to 5.2k. These Weezeworts have held on. They've not gone over their body temperature max. I think because I've stacked them all there. And our hydrogen amount is going back up, which is good because I'm going to need that for the aqua tuner and the nullifier. So the vent for hydrogen ends here, but my plumbing is all set up. So after I get this all swept up and cleaned up, which is going to take a little bit more time, then, you know, it's going to take a little bit of time. But once I get that all tidied up, I will start working on the other project, which is to get the refrigerant line set up. I may need more space, though. I'm just going to preemptively add it. Critter starvation. I don't like that. Oh, yeah. It's a tamed stone hatch in an area that has no food for it. So, don't care. Dead in 9 cycles, 10 cycles. Sorry, buddy. And we're actually using some of the granite to build these things is coming from granite I just mined up, which is convenient. And the rest of this stuff is going to have to go to the bins down into the base. That will cause some temperature issues because this stuff is a little hot. But I'm going to live with it. Man, look at them go. Look at this beautiful, like, it's almost like a bucket brigade of, like, firefighting or something like that. That's what it reminds me of. Just going to make the CO2 vent line a little bit more elegant. I don't like how it snakes across. It's ugly. In fact, I'll fix this whole thing. The igneous that I use to make the insulator tile can be repurposed for the plumbing up here. This plumbing. And in fact, it wouldn't really hurt for me to run plastic ladder here or here, to be honest. I already have the makings of a granite ladder, so I'll just leave it granite. But a plastic ladder here is fine. Oh, you know what? I need this right there, yeah. Okay, so this is mostly gold, copper, iron mix. And we'll sweep that up and then we'll be done. I don't know why some of this stuff is being dropped on the floor, but could always put it away. No, what? No. Oh, man. No, just regular gas pipes. Why are you building insulated ones? I mean, that's obviously my fault. Stop building insulated ones. Ventilation, regular old gas pipe. Nothing fancy. Okay, so we're almost out of Mafic and Regolith. Am I out of room? I might get out of room. It is a ridiculous amount of earth moving that I've had to do with dupe labor. Okay, that looks a little bit nicer. Marginally, I suppose. I am very close to out of space. I'll have to keep an eye on that. I'm taking a look at my igneous. So my igneous, I still have plenty of igneous to play with. I don't need to mine up anymore at the moment. Okay, I might run out of space in these storages though. I'll add let's see, 4 more. Hello, iron. Lovely. I was actually running low on raw iron and getting the option to print some up. Very handy. It looks to be only maybe 10 tons left of Mafic and Regolith that needs dealing with. Which is not that much, considering each of these storages is like 20. Unless I miscounted, I could have. We will see. Yeah, I think the extra bins are going to be necessary. So now, all of the Mafic and Regolith has been tidied up. There is still metals out here that need tidying. The trouble with them, though, is the amount of running that needs to be done because we have to bring them all the way back to the base. I'm okay with them going all back to the base because that's eventually where we want the material stored, but it's a lot longer of a run because we have to run down here. But it's what I want to do. Because then it removes all the potential heat, and I can have a beautiful plastic floor that runs all the way out to my my rockets. So one could argue that running this path from the rockets is very inefficient, and I would agree with you. Absolutely, I would agree with you. There's also the possibility of just having a transit tube go out to the rocket gantry that is isolated from the jet suit. And that way we can do a much shorter path to the rockets, and I actually might do that. That would probably be a smart decision to make. This is my glossies. Okay, if my glossies are down a pop, let's wrangle this one. Easy fix. And this is all, you know, beautiful. Some of this is refined too. You know, the meteorite strikes. Some of it is unrefined, and then some is actually refined metals. Like this iron, for instance, is refined metals. It's not a whole lot of it, but yeah, here's 1,000 grams of refined metals, or 90 kilograms of refined metals. So you can find a pretty healthy amount of refined metals out in space. So tidying this up is pretty helpful. Now the thing to note, the boxes that they're going into are going to get hot. I don't know what boxes they're putting them in, but whatever boxes they're putting them in are going to get pretty toasty, because space ores are hotter, obviously, than the ores that you're going to mine most of the time. Okay, so this exceeded body temperature at 95°C. Yep, it's about 135°C instead. But the top row is keeping the temps down. So here's what I'll do. I will, I'm going to remove the bottom two and plant those Weezeworts back. I'll plant one here and one in the other. And my natural gas amount is recovering. Is this no longer dormant? Yeah, it's no longer dormant. That's why it's going up. Okay, so both of those are up. And replanted. Done. Running around and having to fertilize all those, I do realize is a considerable amount of manual labor. But one I've already decided to commit to. We are almost done. I also left a space here between the insulated tile and the mafic rock so that it couldn't heat up. It doesn't have contact to heat anything up. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and prioritize the construction projects that I've got going on here. And we're getting pretty close to having access. I think this probably got destroyed from a strike, but having access to mining up the top, and then I have to figure out the automation wires for opening and closing the doors. It's a lot of mining. It was a lot of time that our system was out of commission, and then as a result, it's going to require a lot of building. And then on top of that, my refrigerant line, I'm going to have to get that built. I'm going to put that as 9s. And then another thing I'm going to need to do is I do have a petroleum line right here. But what I'm going to need to do is to bridge that petroleum line to feed into the input of the system. Which is actually ridiculously easy to do. But I'm probably going to want to do it with a liquid shutoff, so that I'll do it with a valve. I can control how much of it goes. So that would look something like this to that. So let's get that built as well. I'll put 8s to everything else. And then 7s up here. Although I want this to be built first. So that 9777. Cool. Because we're not going to be able to do the auto sweeping without the refrigerant line. That's just simply a requirement of the system. This episode's going to be a little bit longer because I feel like I owe it to you all to at least get some sort of definitive progress that I can point at and say, hey, look, I did it, or something. I don't know. So I'll try to get this done-ish. And as soon as this valve gets built, you'll see it start to feed towards the aquatuner. Done. So here comes... As soon as this goes all the way to the input, which I can always make 9, we'll start to have petroleum Q for the aquatuner. It looks like most of my solar panel, the solar panel is good to go. I'm going to remove this here. This metal, I don't need it anymore. I would need it here. But that's about it. So let's do this as 7 and 7. And that reclaims a whole bunch of steel that I don't necessarily need this mesh tile, because I don't need 2 layers of mesh tile, only 1. And here's Bryce, digging as usual, trying to free our observatory, or X-observatory. I guess it's not an observatory anymore, but free us from space. Take a look at the plumbing line. The plumbing line... Oh, you know what? There's some issues here. Why isn't it letting me paint over these? That's... I think it is. It's just cosmetically not looking like it. So fix those little issues. That's not too bad. Now, he's going to get sunburnt, and I'm just going to owe him one. Temperature's down to 140 Fahrenheit, and as you can see, the buddy is now working. Indicator, of course, that we've done a really good job. Look at all these metals that we've just let spill. Alright, so petroleum all the way to the aquatuner, as you can see. And we're going to allow a whole lot of petroleum to be put into this aquatuner so that the pipe is all set. What's wrong with this, buddy? Too hot? But I should... Alright, it's too hot, but I don't have slime lung in the air, so it doesn't really matter. Ooh, pure water. That's unusual. I will take it. What temperature was that water? I don't even know. It's a little hot, but it's about the same temperature of my of everything else here. So the aquatuner, the thermo aquatuner, is all set. All we need to do at this point is to bring hydrogen down, finish the plumbing lines, which there's only a few spots where they are not built, and turn on the power and let it run. I also have to then set up the loop back to make sure that the petroleum that we're sending is cold. That's a pretty simple process, but it's also going to be pretty important as well. Okay, and our radiant piping looks good. The temperature's coming down. Things are getting more comfortable. I do have a pretty severe lack of steel, so I'll get back to steel smelting. I really do like how easy it was to do the glass. I mean, obviously in large batches, my hacked together setup wouldn't have been sufficient, but I did just drop it into a big puddle of polluted water and call it good, and it worked fine. I do have a switch for the aqua tuner. So I don't have the plumbing that I have set up already here. Obviously, I don't have set up a loop back, some sort of temperature sensor for the pipe to loop back to input if not cold enough. And that's a pretty easy thing to build, which maybe I set up now. Oh man, as soon as we mine our way out of that, I just have to make sure that Bryce doesn't get stuck up here dealing with this giant mountain of regolith that has amassed. Alright, so let's design a little loop back. So the insulated pump will come out like this. Then we'll have a liquid shutoff. So this pipe will have to be removed and that will be canceled. If it does not pass the test, it loops back to input. And then if it passes the test, it continues on. Very, very simple little loop back. Like this. And then here, it will be an automation wire of lead. This shutoff doesn't need to be steel. Lead's fine too, because it's designed... Well, I'll do gold. Lead, just in case the petroleum's hot. I wouldn't want the lead to get damaged. Okay, so something like this. And... get that constructed. And then here, an automation wire of a thermosensor. Right there. Where we sense it's the incoming temperature. And then we'll just have to decide what temperature we want it to be. And then if it's above that designated temperature, we just send it back. And that's very much a mimicking of this oil loop back that we have here, where we let me just show you where oil comes out of the reservoir, goes through. Oh, you know what? It should go through a liquid pipe thermosensor, but it goes through a liquid pipe thermosensor, and then if it doesn't pass, it loops back, and if it passes, it goes forward. But I didn't set up a liquid pipe thermosensor here, so I need to. That would be this thermosensor. Cancel. Sorry. And automation. Where's the liquid pipe thermosensor? I think that is actually in plumbing. Done. This will also need to be powered on, but there's no problem because we're only using 1.2K of the 2K. So easy peasy. And if above, let's say, 50, 0 Fahrenheit, we'll set for now. Loop. If below 0 Fahrenheit, it can continue on. If above 0 Fahrenheit, it will loop back. Cool. Alright, sweep up the debris in there. And there you go. I did a very, very brief cycle here. The nullifier, the aqua tuner has nowhere to put the heat. Oh, is it going to start damaging itself? Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. So what I want is a high pressure gas vent in here that fills this room with hydrogen to act as a way to transfer temperature. And then I need to feed my nullifier with hydrogen as well. So something like that. And then this pump here technically drives that, because that pump sends that hydrogen. What is going on here? Why isn't that? Oh, because it probably doesn't output anywhere. No, okay. That's not a problem. That will self-fix. There's a lot of construction projects that are just not getting done. And no matter how much... I'm making progress on the digging, but as you can see, it is like 4 2 steps back, 1 step. Constant regolith. So engineering a solution to deal with the regolith is absolutely necessary. It's paramount to space exploration. I only have, let's say, 5 minutes left. Come on, guys. You can do this in 5 minutes. No, don't build one pipe. Oh, you're killing me. More constructors are coming, I'm sure. Yeah, here they come. I'm not asking them for insulated pipe, so they should be able to build them in large batches. Insulated pipe, of course, requires a lot more material, but non-insulated does not. Come on, all. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Alright, so if I'm not incorrect, yep, here comes the hydrogen. And this hydrogen is going to dump a huge cloud of it into the aqua tuner, so that we can transfer temperature better. And then we'll have a little bit of it into the nullifier as well. I might want a... Okay, yeah, I'm going to want something else here. So what I'm going to want here is a gas shutoff to pass a test. Because we don't want the nullifier to make the temperature in this chamber so super cold that it, like, damages itself, right? So, let's super high priority do this too. And then in ventilation, we will do... because right now it's, like, nullifying. It's fine for now, because the hydrogen in here is pretty hot. But in the long run, yeah, we're not going to want that. So that would be a thermosensor. Where the heck can I even put a thermosensor? I could put a thermosensor up here, I guess. Oh no, I could put it here. I'll put it right there. That's fine. So a thermosensor to sense the temperature for a shutoff. So this here will control the gas shutoff. So let's get a high-powered construction. So basically, the reason is we don't want this nullifier to nullify so much heat that it super chills the room in a very damaging way. We want to basically control its max. And then this is also going to pull a ton of hydrogen out of our stocks. Uh-oh. Let's fix this. Damn, this hydrogen is so hot. It just keeps... Oh, Jesus, we need to pull that phosphorite out before it turns into liquid, too. It's very, very, very hard to chill that area. Maybe I even have to make the chamber bigger. Oh, and I guess, yeah, we're going to need power to that shutoff as well. So, if above negative 50 Fahrenheit, green signal. Guess you're getting a little extra. I'm really desperately trying to get everything set up to a point where I feel good about the project progress, but I'm just not quite there yet. I haven't set up the automation up here either. Bryce did do a ton of digging, though. He's probably going to be sunburnt for like a year now. It's not how sunburning works, but I keep sending him out here while he's sunburnt. He's managing his stress pretty well, given that he has 20% stress gain per day as a result of the sunburn. Alright, so here's the power line for the gas shutoff. And that should open up and allow the nullifier to nullify. As soon as someone builds it. And then I'll flip the switch. Come on, guys. There we are. So now it's sending green signal. As you can see in the automation wire. And then if we check... Oh, if we check plumbing... See, the other issue is with the aqua tuner. There's nowhere for the excess to go. I had not really considered that. So what I'm going to do is shut off this valve here. And then I'm going to pull out some of this petroleum. Just extract it from the pipe so it can start circulating and passing the test. I need to make a little room for it. In fact, I need to make a lot more room than I've made. So this kind of sucks. Let's not do that. Let's... I need some sort of aquifer. Liquid reservoir. There is not a good way around that. So I suppose I could put it up here. It actually doesn't need to physically be in the chamber. It would benefit from being in the chamber because the chamber is cold. So let me... The trouble is this ladder isn't my ladder. Phooey. So if I did do the aquifer... Okay, let's do it. Let's decide to do it, but I'm going to have to rewire things. And, i.e., this episode's going to go even longer, guys. Hope you don't mind. So what that would look like is... what we're using, metal gold tiles. So I'm going to turn this into... Yeah, let's just abuse the priorities here as much as I can. And then this would mean a liquid reservoir here, which means all of this stuff... we're almost pressurized the chamber with hydrogen. How much hydrogen has that cost us? A good bit. As you can see, our tanks are basically empty. Bryce is definitely getting pretty stressed out. And this is definitely the reason why I have all this automation and setup. As you can see, if you don't have it, it costs you in other ways. Why can't... Oh, because of the temp shift plate. Alright, let's get rid of the shift plate. Then the liquid shutoff and the... All this has to go as well. Then the plumbing will run a course like this. There's the sensor. There's the shutoff. Here's the continuing. And then disable this and pipe extract here. Priorities of all this, 9. Alright, so this thermosensor, what do we say? If the temperature is above 0, we're going to feed it. I can say even above negative 40. That's pretty good coolant. Alright, now in terms of power. There's the power. And then the automation wire. And then here is where our aquifer will go. Also means that we have, a fair bit of weird sweeping to do. It's fine. Now the aquifer benefits being in the cold hydrogen environment, which is why I'm putting it in there. And we are almost at pressure here in this chamber. Now I did just use a ridiculous, what does this plumbing look like now? So let's get rid of this plumbing now. I did use a ridiculous amount of hydrogen to pressurize this, which means that the hydrogen pressure in here is at an all-time low since I set it up. But we should be pulling hydrogen out of here, and this is looking less superheated. And I could also tap other sources around the map if I needed to. Absolutely needed to, but I don't think I need to do that. Alright, I know I keep saying that I want to finish this project. I'm coming up on my like mental deadline here. But I think we're getting pretty close. Oh, I will have some mopping to do, won't I? That's okay. Didn't realize there's stuff in that bridge. Alright, base. Liquid reservoir. Let's make this out of... I don't know, gold is fine. So then, if it fails, it goes into the reservoir, and then eventually back into input, like this. And then if it passes, it moves on. And I am going to have to, unfortunately, break some of this just to mop. Once this is done, oh, I will be happy. Alright, so there's the reservoir. And now the plumbing and bridges. Now this nullifier is, and you see in the temperature, it is cooling it down considerably. It's producing negative 80 kilodtus. And as it runs over time, it will just cool down more and more and more and more. Eventually getting to the threshold set by this thermosensor of negative 40 Fahrenheit. Or 40 Celsius, it doesn't really matter what it is. They're both the same at negative 40. So now that we have a holding tank, I can reactivate this tuner. So the way this works, which I hadn't fully explained, but the tuner dumps the temperature of the petroleum into the surrounding area. And the nullifier then removes that heat from existence. So this petroleum, as you can see, is going to get colder and colder and colder as it cycles through the aqua tuner until it becomes effective refrigerant, which is, if it is above negative 50? So let's do negative 50. What is the temperature? Because I don't want it to destroy the... here, let me first do all. I don't want it to destroy any plumbing or anything like that. So petroleum is good till negative 70. So yeah, negative 50 is a good threshold, I guess. It's close to its max or min temperature, but not quite there. So now, as you can see, the temperature is getting down there, down, and it's getting lower and lower and lower, and what's going to happen is the aqua tuner is dumping its heat out into the surrounding area, and then the nullifier is trying to nullify that heat. So it is a... they have a very symbiotic, productive relationship, I could guess. I'm about to disable my my nullifier, though, because I have to remove the floor to mop. Oh, and it got too cold. What's going on here? Oh, why are you... there is something wrong with the plumbing, maybe? Where it got so cold it's damaging itself. So, because I think what happened was it had a... no, disabled it, dudes. Disabled it. It had a phase change. Is how cold it got. No, well, I'm looking at the clock here, and I'm running way over time. But I'm going to try to finish this up anyway. Okay, well, that's fixed. We're going to mop it up. And then sweep it up. And I can troubleshoot it next episode. If we need to. I'm probably going to have to remove these, though. And let's sweep up all the debris. So I don't know why it wasn't letting it through. Because it should have... oh, it says pipe blocked. Oh, that's why. So there's some break in this pipe, which is not letting it go through. Yep, because it wasn't built here. That's why. That is why. I didn't check the full run. So I don't think the automation that I had laid out failed. I just think that the there was nowhere for the pump for the valve to dump out, so that it went into a damaging feedback loop, and it wasn't designed. Oh, God, where am I? Wasn't designed in properly. It was just not completed. So let's fix it up. And then I'll let it run next episode. We'll premiere it, debut it next episode. So we're almost done. Here we go, and the mopping. And then the cleanup. And then the metal tile flooring. I can basically tell this high-pressure gas vent to disable itself. Where are my dupes coming to finish this off? Guys? Here we go. Alright, well, we didn't get the metal tile in. But I am really, truly out of time. Little reminder for you all. This was the last pre-recorded episode, and from here on out, I'll be able to incorporate your feedback. If you have any feedback, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so very much for watching. I will catch you all next episode. Farewell, everybody.